off the air. Some pretty good times at East Carolina right now. And I saw the basketball team beat George Mason. East Carolina's won 3 straight football games. They are bowl eligible. Unfortunately, the soccer season comes to an end, but awesome season for Gary Higgins and his women's soccer team. Saw you there at the selection show, which was great. And then Kim McNeil's team off to a pretty good start to the year. Had to face a juggernaut in South Carolina, but brighter days ahead for them. But I would say overall, things looking pretty good for athletics.
It's definitely been a good few weeks. Obviously, I think Coach Harrell's done a good job. When you get thrown into that situation, it can go one or two ways. And he actually came over to my office the Friday during the bye week, and we talked shop. I told him I was pulling for him because I really didn't know him that well, but everybody talks about how great of a guy he is, and I think he's had probably some opportunities to leave East Carolina. He loves Greenville. His family does, so I'm pulling for him. I'm a Blake Harrell fan, and I hope they can win these next two, and even if they don't win the next two, I hope he definitely gets a hard, long look at the head coaching job here at East Carolina. And talking about Gary Higgins, obviously soccer first ever conference championship. What an amazing run they made through the conference tournament, and just the resilience the girls showed. I didn't get to watch a lot. I told Coach Higgins I flipped the TV on that Sunday, and I'll probably watch 3 minutes of that double overtime and right before the goal was scored. So I turned it on at the right time. And, Coach Schwartz, I texted him after the double overtime win against George Mason, and I didn't get a chance to watch any of the game, but I told him it had to show some toughness and some grit and some resilience to win a double overtime game. So definitely pulling for all of the East Carolina coaches and the student athletes.
Yeah, I got it on here so you can watch some of it while we're talking. But I wanted to bring up a couple of guys. Blake Harrell seems like a Cliff Godwin guy, very down to earth, very, very easy to get along with. Well, sometimes you're easy to get along with, Coach.
Thanks, Cliff. I appreciate it.
But R.J. Felton and Rajay Harris, I've highlighted them today. Rajay put the team on his back Thursday night. R.J. put the basketball team on his back on Saturday. They are 4 5-year guys. They stuck here. Love East Carolina, put it all on the field and the court. And I was thinking with having you on the show today, that those seem like Cliff Godwin guys. You got to love having Pirates like that here.
I do love any people that want to just be committed to somewhere and just stick it out. And look, it's not for everybody. I get it. But as I told some coaches today, I'm on a Zoom call every other Monday. It's called Kingdom Coaching, and it's 5 different head coaches, including myself, from 5 different conferences. And, I just appreciate people that want to be at a place, because you've been at Pirate Radio for a long time, right?
Pretty loyal guy.
Yeah, pretty loyal guy. So, but I just think that's what real life is. I mean, you don't get to jump jobs. And look, the kids, the system's not going to change, and I'm not bashing the system, but we're just making it very easy for them to, go to other places. And I don't think that's teaching them what real life's going to offer them down the road.
Well, Coach, I wanted to ask you, and if you ask a dumb question to Cliff Godwin, he will make it well known that it was a dumb question. And this might be a dumb question. I'm going to go ahead and tell you it might be.
I appreciate you prefacing in that.
A lot of newness in your program, a lot of new guys. Did it change you at all in the way you handle things? Do you have a little more patience with all these new guys coming into the fall, or was it business as usual? You got to keep up from day one if you're new, or if you're Dixon Williams, you've been around a while.
So I'd go back to the summer. We had to hire 4 new staff members, along with bringing in 31 new players. So you got a new director of baseball operations, and Eddie Losner, a new strength coach, who was actually our first hire, in Hunter Reeves, which we call him Thunder, and you'll know why here in a second. A new athletic trainer, Hunter Martin. So 2 Hunters. We had to come up with some nickname, which he had the nickname Thunder, our strength coach did. And then a new academic advisor in Fallon Morello. So a lot of newness with 31 new players. I did pray about the people we were bringing into our organization this summer, and whether you believe in faith or not, I can tell you this, that the portal guys specifically are all from different places, all have different stories, and they're the right guys. They have really embraced the culture that we have here at East Carolina, and a lot of them have really cool stories, from like Big John Collins. He's a big dude, but he's a 6-year college player, and he was at a Division III school, COVID, went to Division I school last year, And within the first 6 weeks, he's telling all of our incoming freshmen, you don't know how good you have it. And that's the time where we're really working the crap out of them, you know, in the weight room, on the field. And just because he had learned so much and just could feel how the coaches would pour into him and coach him. And, you know, if you have something going on outside of baseball, the coaches are going to be there for you. So those have been neat stories for me to just kind of see unfold. And it is different. I mean, we have 31 new players. There's obviously a lot that they have to learn. I would say that our assistant coaches did a really good job of coaching our guys. We've had to be better coaches this fall from the standpoint there is a lot of newness, but the guys have done a pretty good job, and we'll be better in the end of May than we will be in February for sure. But the guys are coming together well.
I'll probably leave some names out, but guys like
Me too.
Dixon, Jake Hunter, heck, maybe even Parker as a sophomore, Riley Johnson, the kind of upperclassmen guys that have been around for a while. How much have they helped the coaches out, kind of getting these new guys up to speed?
They all have, for sure. I would definitely highlight Parker Bird. I think he's probably the best leader on our position player side. He's not afraid to speak up, and as I told him, he's probably got the best platform as a leader of any player that's ever played in our baseball program. I said, if anybody ever said something back to you, I think you'd have the whole locker room ready to kick their tail. So hey, you're safe, man. Say whatever you want. But he's got so much passion for this place and wants to win, so he's been great. But all the older guys, Jake Hunter, Dixon Williams, Riley Johnson, even when Riley's not on the field, he does a great job leadership-wise.
Cliff Godwin joining us. You got a question, you can get it in. We'll talk to Coach Godwin for another 20, 25 minutes or so. Got a few rolling in. We'll get to those real quick. Jamie asked, I guess, outside of East Carolina, what is the other program that Cliff looks at as the best in college baseball? Is there a program you, I don't know about emulate, but admire from afar?
You know, I definitely look at the places that I've coached before because I know the coaches there. You know, you look at Ole Miss, obviously, Carl Lafferty. I'm the godfather of his children. Him and his family will be down at Sunset Beach for Thanksgiving with me and Chad Tracy and his family. So, you know, I see, obviously, they have not played great the past 2 years, and kind of some of the things that, you know, he probably wishes that they'd done differently recruiting wise to retain some more players and stuff like that. I mean, you listen to all those stories, obviously talked to Eric and Nick a lot about what's going on at Clemson. So just really the connections that I have. I'll be honest with you, I'm pretty tunnel vision, as you can imagine, with our players and what we have going on. And I believe in people probably more than some other people do around college athletics, just because it does become emotional, Clip. You know this. I mean, I'm emotional at times when you lose somebody at times and you've poured a lot into them. It makes it harder. It's easier just not to have a personal relationship and just look at it like, hey, well, you hit well, so we'll keep you, and you don't hit well, we'll go get somebody else.
That's not the way it is here.
That's not the way it is here. So, and I don't want to ever, if the game changes so much where I can't do it, then I will give people deuces like Tony Bennett did, and I'll go do something else. But I really like the core group of guys that we have in our locker room and what we're about.
You mentioned Chad Tracy. It made me think Ella Tracy coming to East Carolina. How cool is that?
That's awesome. I'm so fired up. And, you know, even when she was going through the recruiting process and stuff, we'd be down at the beach, and I'd just grill her with questions like, hey, give me your top 3, give me your top 4, you know, stuff like that. And it was just fun. And, you know, Chad, Katie, myself never wanted to push her to East Carolina, but God's got a plan, and we're super pumped that she's coming to play for the Purple and Gold.
Question from Jamie, what is the most important factor for a baseball team to have to win consistently?
Well, I mean, I think it definitely starts on the mound. You got to have great pitching, and I really like our pitching depth this year. And you've got to have a catcher that can keep the ball in front of him. And I think Walker Barron definitely did a good job of that this fall before he got nicked up a little bit. And we're working with the other guys as well. And you've got to be strong up the middle. I mean, you definitely got to have a shortstop that can field the baseball. And, you know, a center fielder like Riley Johnson is not normal. I mean, the guy got a Gold Glove award for the best defensive player, you know, in the conference. And I think that definitely can set the tone. And then you got to be able to score some runs. So a lot of different factors, but it definitely starts on the mound.
Coach, you figured out where you're going to put Dixon Williams yet? I understand he's been playing a lot positions this fall, but how about that middle of the infield, and where does he factor into that?
Yeah, Dixon's been awesome. We played him a lot at short early on, and Boucher played great at short. And I brought him in and just said, hey, look, for our best team right now, it might mean you moving around. And that could be short one day, it could be second one day, it could be third one day, it could be first, it could be, left or right field. And, I think for Dixon's professional career, that's a good thing. But the thing I appreciate, and it comes from his parents, but how selfless, he's like, Coach, just put me wherever you need me. And I, brought up the story about Alec Burleson going into his junior year, which ended up being the COVID year.
Yeah.
And I just brought Burley in, and a little bit different. I just said, Burley, is it better for you to start as a pitcher or pitch out of the bullpen? And he said, Coach, you just use me how you need to use me, and I'll figure out the other parts. And I just appreciate that, and that obviously worked out well for Burley.
Yeah, Burley doing awesome right now. And speaking of that level, how about Clayton McCullough getting the managerial job in Miami? He's got Connor Norby to work with, and Jacob Jenkins Cowart down in the system. But man, I've known Clayton a long time. I know you know him very, very well as well.
Yeah. I shot him a text message and actually tried to call him on Friday, and he sent me a text back. When he got the job, he's super fired up. We had corresponded via text message through the whole World Series run and stuff. And I actually talked to Connor on Friday, and Clayton had spoke to him and reached out to him. And, it's just awesome to see Clayton have the success he has in professional baseball, and now get his opportunity to manage a major league team. And I mean, there's only 30 of those
That's
jobs.
crazy.
That
Yeah.
is crazy. So he's earned it, and then to be able to manage one of our guys is pretty awesome.
All right, Johnny says, what does Coach think about Clemson using one of their scrimmages to play the Savannah Bananas using banana ball rules?
Well, I think it goes to NIL. That's the stuff you get because they were able to raise some money from NIL. I don't think that would have been something they would have done in a non-NIL era, but I'm all for whatever teams, programs need to do to help their program, and I definitely think it benefited their program financially. And I know the next question is, hey, we're going to get them here. I don't know, but I'm not going to rip my shirt off and go do a weigh-in like Backage did. That is an Eric Backage deal, and I will not be doing that unless it's some enormous amount of NIL money.
There you go. Never say never, Cliff Godwin. I like that. I like, and you had a game scheduled with App State, I believe, but with the weather, we were awful stuff over there.
Yeah, we were supposed to go there, and unfortunately didn't work out. And their coach and I communicated a lot, and I just told them, is there anything we could do to help out? But it actually worked out better for us with all the new guys that we probably didn't scrimmage another team just so we could get more reps in for some younger guys. Because when you play another team, you're only putting 9 guys on the field. When you're inter-squadding yourself, you're putting 18 guys on the field on both sides. So that helps us out getting reps.
And I like playing Pitt Community. I thought that was pretty cool, Coach Easton.
Well, and it really, with all the newness we had, I mean, it kind of worked out perfectly. But with hiring 4 new people, having 31 new players, we normally play UVA every fall, and we were going to play Liberty. Well, Coach O'Connor and I spoke, and we've played each other so much in the falls. And then, of course, the NCAA loves putting us in the same regional every year. So we were like, hey, let's take a break. And so we were doing that, and I knew that part. And then Scott Jackson left Liberty to go to North Carolina. And we actually have a couple Liberty players, so I didn't want to play Liberty after that. And so I was kind of last minute. I mean, it's a little bit falls on me, but we did have App State scheduled in Pitt, and unfortunately we couldn't play App State.
All right. Johnny also says, thankful for Alex, is it Peltier? Peltier. He will extend the streak of a player from Haymarket, Virginia, on the Pirate roster to 9 years. Johnny's our stats guy.
Wow.
So there's
Johnny. Hey, I didn't know that. Unknown fact by Coach Godwin, but AP has done a great job of just showing up and working his tail off. He knows the game. He's a really good outfielder, has a good arm. He's fast. He had some ups and downs offensively, as most freshmen do, especially facing the pitching that we were running out there this fall coming out of high school. But he has a bright future. He's a great team guy, and I'm really happy that he's here.
Coach, I'm getting to know these new names and still have to learn the faces, but Heard a lot about Ryan Towers. Heard a lot about Jenkins as well. How about some of these new arms you got?
Yeah, RT did a really good job. He threw, I think, 8 1/3, gave up 1 run, had a little knee issue, kind of like Danny Bill. So we shut him down, but can really pitch, has a very calm demeanor about himself, slow heartbeat, so to speak, can pretty much throw any pitch in any count, and just has a really savviness about him, and super excited about him and the future in the spring. Sean Jenkins, we don't have enough time to talk about a 17-year-old that obviously is super talented, but the maturity level, the work ethic. I told Trey Savage in my office a couple of days ago that he's like Trey Savage mentality as a junior, and the guy should be a senior in high school. And that comes from his parents. I can't take any credit for that, or our staff. And he stays hungry, even though, he's throwing the baseball 93 to 95 miles an hour with a good slider and a good split finger. And his best days are definitely in front of him, but he's voted by his peers as the number 1 hardest working pitcher as a 17-year-old. That says a lot. And
wow.
Braxton Trammell, who's from his high school and is a true freshman, who's 18 years old, was voted by his peers as the number 1 hardest working position player by his peers. So we got 2 guys from the same high school with that kind of work ethic. Whoever had the water they were drinking there, hey, send some to Greenville so we can get it through the entire team. But we're really appreciative of those 2 guys.
Another guy really excited to see, Pirate fans are, is Colby Wallace, who we saw get on the mound late last year due to, as he told us, necessity. Just the arms were going down, and you called upon him, and he went in and did a heck of a job. And what is his role on this team, Coach? Are we going to see him on the mound at all?
Well, I would like to not have to see him out of necessity like we did in this spring, but he's worked on the mound. We've actually shut him down a little bit from throwing because he played summer ball, had a good summer. Of course, playing third, he played some first as well. Colby's a baseball player, man, and he reminds me a lot of Alec Burleson, the fact that he will do anything to help the team win. He's an East Carolina Pirate. His parents have raised him to be tough, to be competitive, and he's super coachable. A couple weeks ago, we were talking about after fall practice the things that our individual guys need to work on, and Colby had some mechanical things he needed to work on, but also, I was like looking at him, and normally when I walk by the players these days and ask them a question, it's normally because I'm trying to get them to want to do that. So I would walk by him like, Colby, you look skinny, man. Like, hey, hey, you losing weight? Like, what's going on? And, nah, Coach, feel good. And so brought him in. I said, hey, what do you want to do, like, after East Carolina? He's like, well, Coach, I want to play in the big leagues. I was like, have you turned the TV on lately? He's like, what are you talking about, Coach? I said, how big are those guys? So we need to dial in on your nutrition and hit the weight room harder. And, of course, he does it. And it's like, the guys would make a joke. I don't know specifically, but I think he really liked to eat McDonald's and like Sonic and a lot of fast food. And he met with a nutritionist within a couple of days. And, in like 3 weeks, he's put on like 10 pounds.
There you go. Yeah. And we enjoyed talking to him. We'll talk to Ethan Norby, Dixon Williams coming up this week. Ethan, he's a nice fella. He's a lot more talkative, I feel like, than Connor was. But you got a great group of Norbys and following a great group of Agnoses. Danny Beal just had the Agnos boys on his show. And how you like that, the media mogul that Danny Beal's becoming, Coach?
It's a little nerve-wracking, to be honest with you, as him and I have had several conversations. I even called Ellerby, Danny Bill and JC been on the fifth quarter call-in when times were a little tough. Like, hey, I'm not sure that's the best scenario for our baseball players that are just out of college, because I always worry about them being too critical of another sport because they're just out of here. If they were out of here for 10 years, it wouldn't be that big a deal because, we all get frustrated when the media gets critical of us and, like now you're going to be those people that are critical of something else, and that's always makes me nervous. But from what I hear, because I haven't been on social media as much as, other people, they've done a good job on that side of things.
They did. In fact, Jacob, how it all kind of spurred was he called in on the fifth quarter when times weren't great and was defending the players and the team. So he kind of took it from that angle. Yeah. So, and it was good to hear, a different side. And we mentioned Riley Johnson, but how about the bionic man? First of all, how is he health-wise right now?
He's feeling good. He told me the other day that both his shoulders after surgery, now, of course, he's had months of rehab on both shoulders. But working with our athletic trainer, Hunter Martin, also working with Kevin Young, Zach Mac Womack and others over at Young's. Feels like they're more stable, more strong than they've ever been. He's been swinging a bat lightly, and he's also been playing catch. So he'll be ready to go, when the season starts. And as I told our outfielders, hey, let's not think that center field's open because Riley Johnson's hey. So that's one spot that we're going to run that guy out there, as you guys saw last year. And just to hit on Ethan Norby, like he's been so great, and he could start for us. But, if we played tomorrow, he definitely would be in the back end of our bullpen because he's got good stuff. His stuff's gotten better. Coach Knight's done a good job with him and getting his stuff to tick up, and he has a changeup now. But his mentality is very competitive, and he's an energy guy for sure. And I was talking with Connor on Friday in the airport. And he goes, if I was a pitcher, I'd want to be a closer. Like, hey, man, you get to pitch more times during the week. And I go, exactly. So, but Ethan's been awesome. He's like, hey, Coach, whatever role I need to be, but, I'd love to go out there and close games. And to have some experience at the back end of the bullpens, especially good for us early in the season.
Cliff Godwin joining us. We'll take a timeout. Can you stick around a few more minutes?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, we'll do one more segment with Coach Godwin. Back with you, Pirate Radio Live. Cliff Godwin, not the only coach that gets fired up around here. Mike Schwartz was ready to go early in that basketball game. Still don't know for sure what happened there. I've been told that Schwartz either thought the coach for George Mason was talking to his player or was, in fact, talking to his player. But either way, Schwartz was not having it. And I think that kind of fired the guys up, too. So,
I like them Pirates, baby!
And he was fired up after the game, as you heard right there, going into the tunnel. Good job, Jared, getting that video for us at the game. But you're a big basketball guy, Coach Godwin. You excited about some hoops this year? I
am. I need to get out there and watch them. Just my schedule hasn't allowed me to get over there yet, but I am. And nothing's better when ECU basketball's rolling. And I think Minji's is a great place to watch a game, and especially when it's packed because of the low ceiling. It gets really loud in there. Kind of reminds me of Clark LeClaire when the place is packed. There's a lot of energy in there. I can remember when I was in grad school and Rick Pitino was coaching at Louisville. You remember when he got
Bob
ejected?
Yeah.
And that was cool. And then we beat Marquette as well when Dwayne Wade was, at Marquette. So I've seen some really intense basketball games in Minji's, and that's really cool.
That's what reminded me to rewind and show you that moment, because towards the end of the game, Coach Schwartz started telling the crowd to get up, and he was all fired up, and it was awesome. Chandler, remember how pumped we were at ECU lost this game, but it was a tight game when we saw Coach Godwin practically almost in the huddle at Wichita State, the basketball game. Yeah. We were like, Cliff. Oh, Chandler Honeycutt's here, by the way. Yeah. What's up, Chad?
What's up? How you doing?
Good to see you, Chad. Yeah. Cliff Godwin was right there behind the bench at Wichita, and we were fired up. But
I was like, "There's Coach Godwin. There's Coach Godwin.
He's in the huddle. He's calling to play."
New Year's Day, Coach Dooley asked me, "Did I want to go on a trip?" I said, "Yeah," and so. Flew with the team New Year's Eve, went there, and was in all the pregame meetings and stuff.
Wow.
And Wichita State was good that year. That was before they fired their coach for whatever abuse.
Greg Marshall?
Yeah.
Cool place to see a game, right?
And it was packed.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting right behind the bench. You're right. I mean, I was hearing everything that was going on. It was awesome.
Jeff Charles said it didn't matter their record, time of day, when they played, they were going to be there, because it's not all they got, but that's about all they got there, because no football and all that. So, and pretty good baseball program traditionally, and trying to get back there, Coach. We don't have a schedule yet, do we?
No, it's going to come out in the next week to 10 days, whenever season tickets go on sale.
Was it Wichita State that almost all their baseball program transferred out?
That was because they had the coaching change, not this past summer for
it
us. But Brian Green, the new head coach, I'm telling you, I think he's doing a good job. We obviously played them in the conference tournament, but we played them here, and I mean they had that 7-run inning on that first game on Saturday, and we came from behind and we ended up sweeping them that weekend. But they've done a good job there. So historically, like you said, I mean they've won national championships in Omaha with when Coach Stevenson was there.
Cliff Godwin joining us. Kenny says, Coach, thank you and your players for coming out to Down on Main Street last week. It means a lot to us over here in Beaufort County.
Yeah, it was awesome. Ellerby set up all that, and they're just so hospitable. They feed our guys. We signed some autographs, but the place was packed. The food was great, so it was an awesome experience for sure.
Jamie, with a question, how do you decide how much to pitch a pitcher during the off season? You want them to stay healthy but not get stale. Seems like it's difficult to manage. So how about you and AK and how all that works out?
There's a lot of discussion. You obviously want to keep them at a inning limit for sure. I mean, when you talk about a calendar year, you also have to look at the stressful amount of innings that they've pitched, whether that be at another school before they got there. And then you also want them to be able to compete at least a little bit in the fall. So if they're a new player, that the returning players and everybody else gets to see them go out there. And then sometimes you got guys that are nicked up, so that hinders you from being able to pitch them.
Chandler, you were asking about a guy off the air. I asked Coach a few names. Is there a name you want to know about?
Austin Irby is a name that I saw on social media. Between it was Jared with Pack the Jungle, and then I think his mom posted a video of him hitting a run. And then some of the guys that we've had in here in studio have mentioned his name too. So Austin Irby's had a pretty good fall.
I'm so thankful parents get to post their kids on social media when they hit something in the fall, inter squad. That's awesome. And I love Pam Irby and the Irbys and stuff, but that's why sometimes we have to close practice now is we've got too many filmers out there instead of just watch your kid play. Just watch them play. Anyway, Austin Irby he's been great. He had a great fall to be a freshman especially, but I was telling you guys off the air, probably his best quality is that he believes in himself. He believes he's a good hitter. When he steps in the box, like he's competing. And if you could take one quality of a pitcher or a hitter, if they believe in themselves and they've got confidence, that's going to win a lot of battles, even if their stuff maybe not be the best or they're not the best hitter. I mean, Alec Burleson single-handedly is in the big leagues because he thinks he's going to beat that pitcher's when he steps in the box, and he don't always do it, but he believes in himself, and of course he's super competitive. But Austin did a really good job. He's still working on his defense over at first base, which wasn't bad, but as all high school players have to work on that. But if we play tomorrow, he would be in the lineup with Braxton Trammell as two freshman hitters for sure.
On the way here, I heard you talking about the transfers coming in and buying into the culture. Do you have to harp on that a lot with them, or do they kind of get the culture when they get in here?
They don't have a choice, but I would say, and you heard a little bit about it, is we did a really good job of bringing the right people. Yeah, they were talented, but the right people, and they all have different stories, but they wanted to come to a winning program. They wanted to be coached at a high level to hopefully help their draftable players, that they could help their draft in that standpoint. But, some of the guys that we got could have went to a higher bidder because we don't pay on top of what the expenses are. And
you let them know that too, right?
Oh, I told every parent that the freshmen and the junior college players that were already committed to us this summer when they come to summer school, hey, if you're looking to get rich, then you should walk out the door. If you're looking to become the best baseball player you can be, the best human being you can be, and win championships, and then if your talent level is like a Trey Savage, then the talent level is going to allow you to get paid over $4 million. But if you're looking for anything else, it's just isn't a place for you. And I've done a better job personally of just saying, this is who we are, and if you don't like it, no problem. But anybody who says at East Carolina that NIL is the end-all be-all, they should go run the other way because, no offense, we're not writing the biggest checks. Yeah. So why would you say that? We're not writing the – and Blake Harrell and I had this discussion. It's a tool. It's no different than analytics in baseball. It's a tool. It cannot be the end-all be-all because we're not dealing with robots. We're dealing with human beings. So there is such a thing as playing the hot hand. There is. Like, if the guy's out there rolling, why are you going to go get him? Now, you're watching body language. You're watching the velocity. You're watching how the hitters react to pitching, the pitches that they're throwing. All that stuff goes into it. But when Trey Savage waved me back in the dugout against Wake Forest, I went back in the dugout. And he got one more batter, and then I went and got him. But I told him in Memphis there would be a time when I would let him stay out there, and that was the time.
That was the moment.
That was the moment. Not all the time, but he was throwing a no-hitter at Memphis, and we were up 12 runs, and he gave up a hit, after he'd gone 6 2/3, and he was like 98 pitches, and I go to the mound, he's like, "Coach, I got this." I go, "I know you got this, but we're up 12 runs, so we're going to the bullpen."
That sounds like a lot friendlier than when You pulled Jake Agnos.
Yeah, if I could have got away with it, I'd have beat his. You know,
I want to hold you back right now. I can see,
and he knows it.
I've heard his side of the story too. I think he regrets that a little bit.
And the thing is, and he didn't know how many pitches he's thrown, but Dan Roselle was trying to take him out of the game in the 7th because he was over 100 pitches, and like that umpire that balled the 3-2 pitch right down the middle. I'm like, dude, why? Now
you're the bad guy.
Now I'm the bad guy because you called a strike a ball, dude. And but Jake and I have obviously gotten past that moment. But I was trying to protect his health, and he's pissed off I'm taking him out of the game. So.
All good now. Cliff Godwin joining us. Cliff, we'll let you run, but before you do, what's kind of next on the agenda for this team? Purple Gold World Series is wrapped up, but the work is not finished, right? So what's coming up?
It's never finished. It's some individual stuff going on with maybe a mechanical tweak. Not everybody. Some guys going kind of through a deload phase, whether it be on the mound or even position players. Like I said, Kobe Wallace not picking up a baseball for a little bit of time, hitting the weight room hard. We had kind of finished up the fall with Mission Week coming up, starting on this Sunday. So it'll go Sunday morning, Sunday afternoon, Monday morning, Monday afternoon, Tuesday morning, and then whenever classes are done on Tuesday, they get to go home for Thanksgiving, and then we'll have some team meetings and stuff after that. But you're really kind of into exams, and then they go home for 3 weeks, which they'll have workout plans, and then be back in January.
And one more question from Kenny before we wrap it up. How did you feel about Dixon Williams stealing home while you were having to watch it from afar?
I was really just concerned. I was like watching the umpire's body language of like, how are they going to be able to call this like not happening? Like, did they call time? What happened in the moment? But it was an awesome moment, especially after he was, in my opinion, wrongly ejected from the game, to come back and be able to have a moment like that.
Cliff, thank you, man. Have a good, I was going to say off season. It's never off season, but have a good rest of your winter, I guess. And looking forward to the start of the season, man. So be here pretty soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me.